Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. When I grew up in the early 70s, there were two female artists that were all over the pop and country chart. Now, these ladies have a combined 39 top 40 and 6 number ones on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, and another 53 top 40 and 10 number ones on the Billboard Country chart. One of them was an Australian sweetheart who sang with John Travolta in Grease, and the other was a Canadian snowbird from Nova Scotia who was a regular on the Glenn Campbell Show. Sadly, we lost one to cancer last year, and one will be turning 79 this year. By now, you probably understand that we're talking about Olivia Newton-John and Anne Murray. Now, these two phenomenal ladies, both their music is alive and well thanks to a wonderful tribute band from Minnesota. It's called I Honestly Love You, a tribute to Olivia Newton-John and Anne Murray. Joining me from the band, Jana Anderson, Lisa Keith Bernard, and Tara Brueske. Ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Very good. Let's talk to each of you individually, talk about your musical backgrounds and your influences. Tara, why don't you lead the way?
Okay. So I grew up in a very musical family in small towns in Minnesota. And my family started singing together when I was 6 years old in just small little churches in northern Minnesota and Canada, actually. And then went on in high school to have a duo with my brother that turned into a band when I was in college. And I studied music as my degree, music performance, and just basically I always knew in my heart, I think because of doing it so young with my family, that I always wanted to do music as a passion and a career. And I didn't know exactly how I do it, but I've made it work through the years. And
Tara, when was your first time on stage? How old were you when you first time on stage?
6 years old.
So, yeah, I was about the same too. And that's just it as far as I think maybe 8 for me.
Sure.
And it's just once I got on stage, I didn't want to get off stage. There's just something, the bug had bit me. The bug had bit me.
Right.
Okay. Lisa, how about you?
Well, like Tara, I grew up, my sisters, I sang with my 3 sisters. My older sister taught me to sing harmony while we did the dishes. And I taught my little sisters how to sing, and we sang a lot at home and then sang in school. And I decided that I wanted to be a singer in 8th grade. That's when I started thinking it might be doable. So that's what I wanted to do. And then I met my husband and partner in music, Spencer Bernard, in high school. We were show choir together. He played guitar. I was one of the singers. So he invited me to be in his top 40 band right after high school. And that was a blast. And I also fell in love there. So, and we're still together. So I've been doing, I didn't know either, Tara, like what will I do? I sang commercials. I sang in top 40 bands. I sang at church. I sang at weddings. Anything I could do, I wanted to do. In fact, I have a thing I tell my students: singers sing. National anthem, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to sing wherever. And so I sing in duos and bands. Tribute bands, one of my faves.
I have a friend in the local area who says, as long as the phone keeps ringing, I'll come out singing. So, Lisa, you were talking about you and your husband at a grade school, high school type thing. My wife, Leslie, and I was in 7th grade choir. She was in 8th grade choir. So we've known each other since then. And music has been a part of our life ever since. What about Jana? How about you, hon?
I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, and I was the youngest. And the whole family was really talented. My mom played piano well by ear. My dad sang like Bing Crosby, and he was a pastor. But I, unlike all of you, never wanted to be a singer. I think my greatest accomplishment is consistently getting over stage fright. And now it only lasts about 1 minute on stage, like when I first get on in the first few notes. And after that, I'm like, there is no place that feels more like home than here.
And that's just it. Yeah. And that's just
so growing up singing in church, and we would all dress in like red or blue t-shirts and white pants and go nursing homes and sing. And then
well, you had to wear white pants?
My mom and dad thought it would be cute if we were matching.
Okay, white pants.
That's funny. That's funny. My first real exposure, 6th grade, I was in special music, and a friend of mine and I were just making fun of these girls that were doing this routine. The teacher was working on a routine with these 4 or 5 girls. And she decided, well, I'm going to get back at you guys. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm going to actually make you part of the routine. So these 5 girls are doing a little thing, and in the background, we're doing waving our hands and acting like goofballs and such like that. But as they start going to the very next verse, we kind of go a little bit further behind. And then by the end of the song, we're out in front leading the girls. And that was it was like, I don't want to get off the stage. This is just something, and I've always wanted to be on the radio. This is something I've wanted to do since growing up in Chicagoland. And you ladies have had, with the exception of Miss Stage Fright back there. How did you find your mutual passion for these 2 ladies as far as the music of Olivia Newton-John and Anne Murray?
Well, okay, so more of my background and where I felt like, yep, I'm going to be staying in music was when I was hired by the Rupert's Orchestra in Minneapolis. It was a nightclub that held 500 people packed every night. So it was popular, and it was popular enough where Lisa and Spencer showed up to watch the band.
That's right.
And she was signed by Lewis. They did all the hits for Janet Jackson. And I became friends because she told me to audition for a tour. And I did, and I got it. And then not long after that, Lisa had a hit song, and then she asked me to be her singer dancer. And so I was on the Tonight Show with Lisa, and Spencer was her music director playing guitar, and I was her singer and dancer. And she got to be interviewed by Jay Leno. So our friendship goes way back to the early 90s.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so what she's trying to say is she remembered me when she started the Olivia Newton-John and Murray band. I'm so glad you remembered me, Jada. Thank you.
Well, I have spent 30 whatever years going, how can I work with Lisa again?
Oh, really? Nice.
I'll start a band. That'll do it. We'll see if she says yes. And then Tara, we have a really cool story also. I needed another female singer. Tara and I belong to the same church. And I was just at the point where I needed another singer within days. That Sunday, Tara, by the way, is also a phenomenal piano player. Tara was playing piano and singing this beautiful pop Christian ballad. She sings opera, or she can sing Sound of Music like nobody else I've ever heard other than Julie Andrews. But she was singing a pop type song like the music of these shows and playing piano. And I went, ta-da!
That was the good Lord's divine intervention right there. You asked for it, you got it. Toyota, yeah.
And so after and we'd already met and been friends through church and knew each other. I like that. And Tara, I think you should tell those how this goes from this, because it's pretty fun.
Well, she asked me, and I'm thinking, what do you mean the Chanhassen? Like, I've never sung there. I can't do that. I can't memorize songs. And then she said, well, you've got some time to think about it. So I thought, okay. Well, the next night she calls me and says, I actually need to know, and I need a bio from you. So I jumped in, and I'm so glad I did.
You've also got a nice backup band that really and truly kind of really accompanies very, very nicely on stage. Let's give a little kudos to the members of your band.
Well, we, of course, Lisa's husband, Spencer, who sings and plays guitar. He can play acoustic and electric guitar. Okay. And then we have Boyd Lee on acoustic guitar, who's in about 12 tribute shows. So he's super popular, and he sings as well. And then we have Eric Plotz on electric guitar. We have Bill Chenard on bass. We have Adam on pedal steel. Both of them are multi-talented. Bill Chenard is one of the best church organists with I think it's the largest pipe organ in Minnesota, if not the country. And here's a fun fact. Adam Schmidt on pedal steel also plays flugelhorn on Daydream Believer in the song.
Wow. Jeez.
And he also play guitar in the band, but he only has, so many limbs to, and then we have Pete Whitman, who plays 2 or 3 saxophones in the show. tenor, Barry, probably soprano. He plays flute and piccolo, because how can we have Please Mr. Please without, flute and so forth. And then we have Lee Blaskey on piano, who writes for television and film. And he thought he might be too busy, but he really loves the show. And he said recently, he's so moved by the reaction of the audience. What we get is extreme joy. We have sing-alongs. We ask people to sing sometimes, because how can you not? And then some people, we have special songs in the show that are healing. So people who have actually lost people to death say that our show is actually very healing. So it's like a great movie where, it's sad, it's healing, it's joyous, and it ends on a really big high with some nights.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Am I missing anybody? I think I missed everybody.
Awesome, very good, very good. You'll hear about it if by chance you did forget one.
I can't forget one of my best friends, Dave Hansel.
Yes.
He was the second person I hired for the band, and he is just multi-talented and even owns his own drum line. You can buy drums from them. So yeah, everyone is super accomplished in their own way.
Oh, very good, very good. Now, when I was 14, I heard I Honestly Love You for the very first time, and I saw this beautiful blonde on American Bandstand, and I started to have a big crush. Now, a couple of years later, Olivia and Ann both had songs out in 1978. Ann had a number one song, You Needed Me, and Olivia had just released A Little More Love. These two songs stood out for me because I was in broadcasting school for the Armed Forces Radio and Television at that time. So anytime I hear those particular songs, it kind of, teleports you right back to 1978 and such. Are there any particular songs in their repertoire that really and truly resonate with each of you?
Go ahead, Lisa.
Boy, well, I'll tell you, I'm like you, Rick. I'm totally 70s. So I love both these women. So I really enjoy being a part of these songs. But one thing that stood out to me is how much Anne Murray's songs have grown on me. They even more. My mom used to listen to Anne Murray. All I heard growing up from my mom was Pavarotti and Anne Murray. And so I really think of my mom a lot as I listen to these songs.
Wonderful.
And then Tara sings Snowbird. I think that's Anne's best song. So the memories are so there. So it's a joy to sing and hear these songs every evening. Sometimes I wish I could sit out in the audience and watch our show to take it in even more. But I
totally understand that. I would be. A couple of weeks back, I had the Kenny Rogers tribute on, and he said he was so dumbfounded on how good his band was, he forgot sometimes to actually come back in when he was supposed to sing because he's just so compelled. He's like, I'm a fan of my band,
Yeah, exactly how I feel.
Tara, how about you, darling?
It's honestly hard to pick any specific, but I think the thing for me, actually in the last year and a half, because it's a lesser known song of Olivia Newton-John's. It's oh my goodness, why can't I think of it, you guys, right at the end? Live On. And it's because it's one of those that talk about grief. And my mom passed away just less than a year ago. And so I think that really has resonated with me. Like, I love the song to begin with when I first heard it, when I knew it was in our show. But I just, it's had that special place for me even more since my mom has passed away. And she was a fabulous musician too. So it always holds a spot. But honestly, it's hard to pick because the more, like Lisa said too, the more even we do the show, I feel like as I'm listening even to Lisa sing and Jana sing, it's like I just start to love it more. And even when I'm backstage, I can take it in and it's so fun.
I just love that. I absolutely love it. Jana, how about you, darling? Is there one particular Olivia Newton-John or Anne Murray song that resonates with you?
They sometimes change, but as far as just the sound of it, like one of my all-time favorite songs, always be in every show, is Please Mr. Please.
Oh, that's one of favorites. Yeah, play B-17, 1975. MCA Records had the 45.
Right? It's so well crafted. And I think it's unique how the instrumentation and the production and arrangements that they did for that song always moved me. And I just love the story. And, I think people can relate to that because it's talking about how music moves you and it does transport you to the place you are. And in this song, like heartbreak, like don't play that song.
Yeah, that's just it. That's just it.
Boy,
what's strange? One particular part of that particular song, Jana, that I absolutely love is the very end when you got the pedal steel that goes, then it goes, starts going up in octaves. It's like, what a great song! That's the brilliance of John Farrar, and he's producing that. It's just so good.
Yeah, he did so many. My favorite song, I just love the song "You Needed Me."
Oh yeah,
it's about unconditional love and the beauty of the message and the music all come together and live on, like Tara said. That one really moves people. It's the only non-famous song. Sometimes we do one other one too that's really fun and up-tempo, but there are only two that aren't like top 10 hits in the whole show, so people know all of them.
Yeah,
but Live On is about what do we leave when we pass away? What do we want our legacy to be? And it's about having your legacy being leaving love.
And that's what this show is all about, too. So that ties in really, really well because I love doing this to share everyone else's craft. And I'm the lucky guy that gets to be the moderator and ask the questions. And you all provide the wonderful answers. We're speaking with Jana Anderson, Lisa Keith Bernard, and Tara Brueske. We'll be back with them in just a moment, but I want to say thanks so much for tuning into the Someone You Should Know podcast. You can find us on the World Wide Web at SomeoneYouShouldKnowPodcast.com. There you're going to find our recent news, our archive of past episodes, and it's getting bigger and bigger every single day. If you happen to be visiting, leave us a note. Let us know how we're doing, okay? Now, according to Buzzsprout, the service that shares us to all the streaming platforms, boy, are we blessed. Over 2,000 cities worldwide, 85 countries, just dumbfounded. And since you lovely ladies are from Minnesota, I'm just going to pick a couple here from Minnesota. Buffalo, Burnsville, Coon Rapids, Cottage Grove, Duluth, Eagan, also Hastings, Maple Grove, Minneapolis, and Minnetonka. Thanks, Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast. The Someone You Should Know podcast heard wherever quality streaming audio is available. And thank you so very much for tuning in. I'd say one of the most challenging things about your show is trying to whittle down what songs you're going to perform in the time that you've got. If the 2 hours you got on stage, what songs are going to make it, which songs are not. Who makes the choices on that?
Jana.
Jana.
Well, that would be me, but since I'm not a dictating ruler, I like people to have opinions. I listen to them a lot as well. So I may have produced the show and do a lot of all that, production type stuff, but then I check in with people. I find a happy band makes a happy performance. And I want any band that I'm running to feel like a family, feel like you matter. So I do find out, well, here's the hardest part. Some places we get to do 2 1-hour shows, which we want to work more. It's one of the only times where you go, I don't want to save my voice. I want to do the whole show. And then some places it's 90 minutes. So then we have to cut another 7 songs.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
Encore.
Yeah.
I just have to put a shout out to Jana in here, though, because I think when she is trying to, coordinate and see how to program a concert from time to time, she's always mixing it up in a really great way so that the audiences, even if they come and see it the second time or third time, especially if it's those 90 minutes and they might have missed a song or two that we couldn't do, they might be able to see it the next time or hear it.
That's very good. Very good. Before Lisa joined us in the conversation, I was telling these ladies before we came on that I am a huge fan of tribute acts because you ladies and your band are busting your butts every single time that you perform. You're trying to give your very best to the paying ticket holder who's bought that ticket and expects a good show. And there's so many great songs in this repertoire. Is there any particular challenging part, would you say, is most challenging and most rewarding when you finish a show? Anything really kind of stand out as probably one of the most rewarding things?
Well, I would say the challenging part was preparing for the show, all the rehearsals, the intricate background vocals. So that part's over. The show is just fun. And as Jana said, she tries to make it a family atmosphere. Our band loves each other.
Yes.
And I think I can tell, and I'll tell you, my husband, he'll say, you three girls together are so sunshiny. And I'm always trying. I tell my husband, I'm like, I gotta try to keep up with Jana and Tara's smile during the show. So the three of us, we have so much fun, and the guys in the band, I think that shows. I don't think, maybe not every show, the people just love each other and love performing together. Wonderful. We don't see each other that often. When we do, we come to party and have a good time. That's one of the most rewarding.
Absolutely. That's a good answer. Very good answer. I love that. Absolutely. How do you keep the act fresh as far as that goes, Jana?
Well, we don't play that often.
Well, that would do it,
Yeah, that's a really simple answer.
But I know. Say, for instance, I saw the video of you guys doing physical, and you had the sweatbands on, and your sax player was lifting up the sax up in the air like that, like he's working out. I see you do have some kind of comedic value in there, also, right?
Oh yeah, it's like I said, it's a great movie. It's like you're gonna cry. We see people cry not just in Live On and several of the songs. You Needed Me, several of them, but we make them laugh. I should also mention that we talk the backgrounds of the song before several of the songs, but not so much that it's exhausting and they're like, get on with the music,
Right.
But it's a real show. I mean, it could be at really, really big theaters. I can answer some things like the challenge for me is the exuberance. I mean, like, look at me. It's like people are like this when they leave the theaters, when they watch us. But getting the word out, like affording advertising and letting people know you have no idea what you are coming to, because I know people can feel the energy from the stage. I told you some of their resumes, the insane talent is over the top. It's like unbelievable. Our friendships, the three of us girls, and the blend that we have our own unique voices, but we also, all three are vocal coaches by day.
Wow, that's neat. That's really cool.
So we know, and we don't have egos involved. No one does.
Wow.
And so when we know, like I've been, from my history, because you told me you read about it, I've been a professional background singer my entire career, as well as a lead singer. So I know how to back up, and just blend. I find it equally as exciting to blend well in harmonies and hearing that lushness as much, if not more, than singing lead, So, and then I can tell you another challenge is when someone in the band gets COVID the day before a show.
That's gonna lead me right into the perfect thing now. Tales from the Road, the most infamous road stories. I'm guessing this has got to be yours. Who was it that got COVID before the event?
I don't want to reveal who it was. Do you guys? I mean, you girls. I probably should. I don't want to say, because I want someone judge the person for not being careful enough.
No, it wasn't about that. I think it just happened, and it was before our first show.
Right. Jeez. So it happened, and then someone had to learn an entire show in less than 24 hours.
Jeez. Wow, that's a challenge. Well, it's proof that the professionals, absolute professionals.
It was a man, so he had to learn it. But this musician is so respected by everybody on stage that he just fell in. There was already respect. People had played with him, and his attitude was phenomenal. So it worked out just great.
Not only are you ladies part of this, I Honestly Love You, a tribute to Olivia Newton-John and Anne Murray, but you also are very accomplished individuals. I want each of you to take a few moments to talk about your career outside of what you've done here with this particular project. Lisa, why don't you start us off there? Let's talk about your musical career. You had a hit. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your husband and let's talk. Give me a good two minutes about Lisa.
Yeah, it's got to go fast. My husband, he's a prolific songwriter, and he needed a singer. I sang all his demos, which gave me so much studio experience for when I did jingles. And then we decided we picked his best song. We put all our money, I think it was $1,100 we spent to get it recorded well downtown at one of the big studios. We took his song, and we were our plan was to get it to Prince or Jimmy and Terry, people from town. Mm-hmm. And then one night, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came out to see Spencer's original band, King's English. So he called me and said, "They're here, come down with the demo." So I rushed down there. We got them the demo. Lo and behold, they called Spencer in, and they took our song. They took it and put it on Janet Jackson's Control album. Not my song, Spencer's song. And then they kept my backgrounds. So my backgrounds were the same thing I sang downtown or on Janet's Control album. Then they kept hearing me on Spencer's song, so they said, "Who's that?" So then I came in and met with them, and they said, "Hey, let's get to know each other. Why don't you sing backgrounds for us?" So I started singing on SOS Band, Sherelle, Alexander O'Neill, Janet Jackson. Probably the biggest hit I sang on is "I'm Only Human" by the Human League.
Oh my gosh, really? Son of a gun. I love that song.
Yeah, I do too. I love it. And then, Spence and I were on staff with Flight Time Productions for 11 years. And during this time, and then Jimmy and Terry said, "We're going to put an album out for me." Took a while, but they did it. And I was on their record label as Perspective Records, but I was also handled by A&M Records because of the pop. My album was more pop. Mm-hmm. So, and boy, I don't know how it happened, but we had a hit song. Our first single was written by Keith Thomas out of Nashville and myself, called "Better Than You." And it was a records and radio hit, went to number 9 on that chart.
Really wonderful.
And then that afforded us to be able to go on some TV shows, Friday Night Live and the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. So got all my friends in the band, background singers, Jana, my little sister. What a blast to be in California and go on the Tonight Show, right, Jana?
So fun.
So, yeah, kids took a big break from music. I did. Then Spencer became a pastor. We sang at church, solely at church for many years. Now we're back. We're doing, Spencer and I play as a duo. We play in this tribute band. We're also in a 70s tribute band called Reminiscing. We're having a blast.
Awesome. Very good. That was excellent. Okay, Tara, how about you, darling? The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I had a band in college with my brother and a whole bunch of people. And then we ended that for a while, and I went as a solo artist, but I've never had these like big things like both Lisa and Jana have had, but I've just been plugging away a lot of times as a teacher and also as a performer. And in the last, my community of performing as a solo artist has been a lot to our senior population and doing the old like jazz crooners, old Broadway. And then I was also with a Beezy Girls duo with another lady for about 9 years. I got back with my brother, and we're a duo called the Brueskes now. Mm-hmm. And I do about 150 shows a year. And then in addition with teaching, I've done vocal teaching and piano teaching, but I've also done coach musicians across the world really on just how to book gigs. And so I put out a booking course. I have a podcast on The Voice called The Engaging Voice. And then I'm actually in the process, I haven't even told you ladies this, but I'm actually writing a book on booking right now. So I'm hoping that'll
awesome.
do
Tara,
something
do
this year.
me a favor, give a plug for your podcast. What's a good way to reach it? I mean, as far as it's available on all the streaming platforms, what's it called again? And
The Engaging Voice.
The Engaging Voice. We'll put it in the show notes. What we're going to do is, for all of these lovely ladies and, of course, this particular band, go down to the show notes. I'll have all of their social medias and everything down there for you to find all these lovely ladies. Tara, are you done? You ready to go to Jana, or?
Yeah, you might as well, because there's, all of us have so much.
Oh, good Lord. Jana, how about you, darling? I read your bio, girl, and it was like, wow. I am impressed with all three of you. Jana, how about tell us a little bit about your career?
Well, thank you for asking. I always forget to say my website. So that's janaandersonmusic.com. And that has our tribute show that you're doing today, for Olivia Newton-John and Anne-Marie. It has a new band that I was just elected to run called Synergy, the Synergy Dance Band. So that's a really big thing because we've won the best live band about 15 times in Minnesota. And my mentor just handed that to me. And that's a really big deal because it's the only band I ever prayed to be in when I was a teenager.
Wow,
And now,
neat.
full circle, 35 years later, I'm running it.
I'm so impressed with you. And you also do Stevie Nicks. You've also actually were on stage with Stevie, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I stayed overnight at her house for a week.
Son of a gun. Son of a gun.
I can kind of, where do I start? I was with Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks for 7 years. So we did a show, New Year's Eve, the Dick Clark,
Rocket
with New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did so many shows. Fun fact, I don't know if I've ever told anyone, sometimes when Stevie would be auditioning musicians, she would have me singing her lead vocals.
Oh, jeez.
With her band. And she would sit out. You want to talk about pressure and nerves, overcoming nerves, singing Gold Dust Woman, Rhiannon, all the songs for auditioning musicians. I toured with Don Henley of the Eagles for 7 years, and I got to share a microphone with him and sang on his solo.
I was going to say, is that allowed? Because weren't those two?
The two were definitely.
I was going to say.
Yeah, but they remained friends.
Okay.
And we were even back to back.
Uh-huh.
There's a picture of me. No, I've never posted. There's pictures behind me. I didn't set this up for this background, although it would seem like I would. Uh-huh. It's just every other space would just show like kitchen cupboards or something like that. But back here, the picture of Don and I and people I got to meet like Jimmy Page and Sheena Easton. She was my mentor in high school. So how I got out of my shell back to like my beginnings, a friend, Julie, asked me to audition for some talent shows for homecoming and stuff. Uh-huh. I would only sing Sheena Easton songs because I was just obsessed with her voice. And then I ended up being her backup singer dancer. So there's a picture of us bringing in the millennium there. And Sheena, so I copied her voice. Then I wrote a song with a guy named Brian Mann in California. He used to be Kenny Loggins' backup keyboardist for many years. And we were songwriting partners, and we wrote a song called Moon. And the night I stayed over at Sheena Easton's song, I gave her the demo of it, and she ran right into her house, threw her purse down, called her producer, and she said, "Stop the presses. We have to add another song." So then Sheena records my song that I wrote with Brian. I mean, all these full circle moments. It's
amazing. All three of you have had these full circle moments, and I'm very, very proud of you. So great to have you on the show. And I really and truly thank you so very much. I want everyone to check it out. If they happen to be on tour, I'll go to it. Down in the show notes, we'll have the website. They'll give all the tour dates and such for 2024. And we would love for you to check them out. If you happen to be heading out to, Twins game or such, be sure you check out in the local papers and such where these ladies are going to be, or check out the website here. We're going to close the show with a medley of what you would actually see in concert here, kind of a video. We've taken the audio from it. I've included the video down in the show notes also, so I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to see how much fun it is when you come to see I Honestly Love You, a tribute to Olivia Newton-John and Anne Murray. Ladies, any final thoughts?
Yes, I do. I just dawned on me. I'm like, we have to say this. I Honestly Love You was written by Jeff Barry. He's a Hall of Fame songwriter. He happens to be a very, very good friend of mine.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah. And I was his music director for vocals, doing all the vocals. He brought back all of his stars that sang all these hits, there's a million of them. And so we were the background singers for a dozen of them at least. Yes. And I asked him if he would record the introduction to I Honestly Love You, which is a song that I sing in the title of the show. So Jeff Barry is actually featured. He texted me an intro to his own song. So we have tears, we have laughter, and we have Jeff Barry.
Jeez. Forget the Kevin Costner. It's 6 degrees of separation from Jana Anderson, isn't it?
For real.
We've heard from Jana. Tara, what about final thoughts from you and from Lisa?
I just honestly want to say thank you so much for what you're doing and for promoting us and promoting other indie musicians too, or people that, not famously known all across the world. We really appreciate it.
I love tribute bands. Like I said before, I've seen quite a few of them, and they're busting their butts every single time they're out there performing. And I thank you for taking the time to perfect your craft. And that's something, because you get some individuals who get out there and they still think they're a garage band, you know. Lisa, how about you, darling?
Yes, thank you so much, Rick, for having us. And I'm excited for the people, and I pray. I don't pray, really.
We do pray, actually.
You do pray a lot.
I just hope people come out and share the joy. And I love tribute bands, too. If I could afford it, I'd go every weekend. My husband and I go to a lot of them. They are so much fun. The memories, the joy, the happiness. So Thank you, Rick, and for this wonderful time.
February 15th, we're at the Freight House in Stillwater. That's going to be a Valentine's type show for a show called I Honestly Love You. And Rick, thank you. Your energy feels just like ours. It's like you should be in the band.
Here's the truth, Jana. I was in church one time, and I'll never forget the minister saying, "Okay, open up the hymnal to 594. Everyone sing except Rick." Ladies, have a wonderful. Thanks for being part of our growing Someone You Should Know family. Thank you so very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me be there in your morning. Let me be there in your night. Let me change whatever's wrong and make it right. You have to believe we are magic. Nothing can stand in our way. Secret sleepy tea. I'm so in love with you, honey. If you love me, let me know.
We have an 11-piece band, pedal steel, sax, flute. It's going to be great.
And we're going to be doing hit songs like Xanadu, You're the One That I Want, You Needed Me, and Could I Have the Stands, and more that you remember.
And the name of the show is
I Honestly Love You.
Come and see us.
You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.